And we're live.
In 1994, Shaquille O'Neal and the Orlando Magic went to Greece. And when they came back, a reporter asked him, "Did you see the Pantheon?" He said, "Man, I can't remember all the clubs that I went to."
I'm about to get mine and it's about time. Call us Grindhouse, everybody in a house grind. I'm just doing me, I ain't trying to outshine. Trying to kill my vibe is how you get outlined.
Welcome to the Hoopstorians podcast. Jules, Tony Style. I'm Hoops History on TikTok. This day in NBA history, this exact day in NBA history on October 7th, 2015. Harry the Horse Gallatin, a member who is a New York Knicks legend and in the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame, passes away at 88 years old. And, I know a lot of people don't know about Harry the Horse, but we all do. Tony, what did you think of Harry Gallatin?
Well, I think obviously he probably peaked in 54 with that All-NBA first team. One of the early pioneers from what did he play, 48 to 58, I want to say. Another thing that was really popping with him, especially in the early 50s before the shot clock, is he was like a 44% shooter. And you didn't really see a lot of people get that. Small power forward for the time. I think he was like 6'6", 200 pounds, 210, something like that. So, I think he made the most of what he did. Also peaked as a rebounder. I think he was getting like 15 a game one year. I know he had like 3 straight years of like 13, something like that. So, shout out to Harry. Hell of a career, especially with the limited information they had back then on how to play basketball.
Yeah, legitimate tenant, basically double guy through multiple years, and what he was able to value when it comes to New York Knicks basketball, starting to inculturate New York basketball. He was one of the guys back in the day that they were talking about, doing some research on him. His passing a couple years ago, talking to some Knicks fans, they were actually very deeply saddened by his loss because of the impact what he was able to do for the Knicks, starting out as a like I said, an undersized power forward, giving you double at his peak years of giving you 14 and 15, and making All NBA first team. So he's clearly valuable enough to be one of the top 10, better players in the NBA during his time period, and hopefully he's a name that isn't forgotten in New York Knicks lore going forward.
Yeah, Harry Gallatin kind of reminds me, I'd like to do comps. I say like an earlier Charles Barkley, being 6'6", possessing the physical strengths that he had. They literally called him Harry the Horse because he was so physically imposing for his size. Led the league in rebounds, as Tony said, in 1954. Was a 7-time All-Star, multiple-time All-NBA, All-NBA first team, like Tony had said, in 1954. And was also incredibly durable for his time. Had set the record, which has been well surpassed, of 600 some odd games played, and it led the league in games played 3 times. Not a guy that's talked a lot about because he's in the 50s, but certainly, like Jules said, I think defined New York Knicks basketball for his era and going forward, and I think an underappreciated NBA legend.
So was that this day in NBA history? So who take us away? Tell us what the topic is today. Tell them what we're doing. Tell us all that.
So our topic today is best sidekicks, but we wanted to do something a little bit differently because we don't want to talk about early 2000s Kobe. We don't want to talk about late 80s Kareem because people talk about those players all the time. Kevin Durant or Steph Curry, who's the sidekick, we don't care, right? We want to talk about real, true sidekicks, true number 2s or tertiary players, and we want to talk about players that had made an impact on winning at the highest level. Now, Tony had set a criteria for this that one, they can't be like a bona fide franchise player, like we said, Kobe Bryant, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and 2, they have to have won at least 2 championships. I don't know if Jules followed that criteria. I did when I made my list. So we're going to talk about our top 10 true sidekicks in NBA history with that criteria in mind.
So what I thought we would do too is I thought we'd kind of all just throw out our top tens, and then kind of like we did last week, we'll kind of debate, pick a lit, you know what I mean? We'll kind of like come to a consensus on where we think all these should be, kind of vote by committee type shit.
Sure.
So I'll start off with my top 10. This is in no order, and then we'll work our way down here. I kind of got a tie for 10. I really don't care who you pick. I went with this one over the other one, but I understand either. Jim Pollard and Vern Mickelson.
Exactly what I did.
Right. So I went Pollard over him because the All NBA first team. So obviously I think he's the best on 3 of the titles. I think Burns is the best on 2, and then the rest of it's no order. Like Pippen, Dumars, McHale, Gasol, Dandridge, Parker, Worthy, Sam Jones, and Tommy Heinsohn. That's my 10. I don't know what everybody else is.
So I'll start with mine. I did I'll also pick Jim Pollard for the same reasons, the All-NBA first team. Obviously, the sidekick would be to George Mikan, the first dynasty in NBA history, the Minneapolis Lakers. I had Bob Dandridge, obviously, who won a title with the Bucks and the Bullets. As Tony said before, should have won Finals MVP. Did win it for a few minutes, but got given to Wes Unseld. Draymond Green, I put on this list. I consider him you can go back and forth on whether it's Clay or Draymond. I think Draymond provided more value. I think Draymond's the true sidekick, and he's still there. Clay is not. Tony Parker, obviously, with the San Antonio Spurs. James Worthy. I also had Pau Gasol for his 3 straight finals and 2 championships with Kobe Bryant. Walt Frazier, which kind of felt like cheating a little bit, but Willis Reed was the franchise player. Willis Reed was the best player on the team. He won the 2 Finals MVPs, even though Walt Frazier deserved the one in 1970. Willis Reed was still the best player on that team. Kevin McHale, Sam Jones, and Scottie Pippen, of course.
So to double down on that.
Did you say Dumars?
I didn't say Dumars. The reason I didn't say Dumars, because I'm not entirely sure that he was the sidekick. I don't think we can talk about Isaiah's 43-point game 6 and the 25 points in the fourth quarter of on the bum leg in 1988, and we can talk about Isaiah Thomas's Finals MVP in 1990. In '89, it was Joe Dumars who's Finals MVP. Joe Dumars also plays pretty close to Isaiah, I think, in the 1990 Finals. Joe Dumars also makes All NBA over Isaiah Thomas during that stretch of time where Isaiah Thomas doesn't make an All-NBA team. So that's why I left Joe Dumars off the list. Same Tommy Heinsohn. I know like he's the best. I think he's the best player in 57. And so I just wasn't sure with Tommy Heinsohn.
I think it's Koozie overall for the course of the season.
For the course of the season, sure. I just think of the
you count because I do playoffs and that. So our variance so far is, I got Heinsohn and Dumars. You got Frazier and Draymond. I didn't pick Frazier because I think Frazier was just overall the best player in 73. So that's why I didn't do that. But we'll talk about it. Jules, where are you at? And then we can see where the more variants go.
So this is no order. The people I had are Draymond Green, Bill Laimbeer, Pau Gasol, Andrew Toney, Bobby Dandridge, Bill Bradley, because I was struggling with Walt Frazier, so I'd take Bill Bradley, James Worthy, Sam Jones, Kevin McHale, and I was really stuck of trying to get a 10th one because I couldn't. It was too hard to try to get a non-franchise player, but I guess I can throw Scottie Pippen in.
I got you. So I think the argument really's got to be with the 2 titles and stuff like that. I think we got to go between Dumars, Heinsohn, Frazier, and we got to decide first if Frazier really is, because like you said,
I think you're right about 73. You should probably kick him out because he's probably the best.
Yeah.
I think he's probably the best player in that.
So I know you got Draymond. Okay, so let's go with that. So you got Draymond. So the question is so I'll accept Draymond. So the question is, who do we kick, Dumars or Heinsohn? Let's start off right there. I think Heinsohn's the second best player on the team from 60 through 63. Yeah. You know what I mean? 3-time All-NBA in that run as well. I don't think Dumars is the best. I think Dumars definitely deserves the Finals MVP over Isaiah Thomas, but just overall through the course of the season and the playoffs, I just don't think he's better than Isaiah. He's the sidekick.
I think Heinsohn. I have Heinsohn ranked higher all time. So I think Heinsohn would probably be the guy I'd pick over Dumars.
Okay.
Jules,
where are you?
And again, I'm like with the Dumars thing. Like, I know we all value like the offense and him rising in that playoff run, and especially in that finals. But same thing with like the Draymond Green argument is like the glue guy doing the defensive, the defensive rebounding, the hard fouling, switching onto guys, making them drop, Marcus Aldridge, and all these other guys in these playoff runs. I think Bill Laimbeer has this argument of doing it because he's being able to stretch the floor and grab rebounds. I mean, it was like 13 and 13 and 5 and shooting like 35% from three. So he's a unique skill set that is ahead of his time for those Pistons teams that I think is just like Draymond is like a glue guy for that team. I think Heinsohn is the answer, but I really do think that Bill Laimbeer has a very convincing argument as at least a tertiary option in these conversations.
So I guess we're bouncing Dumars.
I would probably, I would say if we're picking between Heinsohn and Dumars, I would get rid of Dumars.
I would get rid of Dumars.
Yeah.
See, I would keep Dumars, but there you go. I'm outvoted, so Dumars got to bounce, which is sad because I had Dumars 5th on my shit. So I had him higher than you guys. Okay, so let's start off this. Do we want to go 10th? Are we going 10th Pollard? Is that where we're at?
Yeah, I think Jim Pollard. I think we'll go with Jim Pollard. He's the second. He's the sidekick on the first dynasty in NBA history. So I think we should stick with Jim Pollard.
I'm cool with that.
With that? Cool with that? Which is weird because I think Vern Mickelson's the more known player for some reason as well.
He definitely is, but like you said before, Jim Pollard has the All-NBA first team. I think he's considered a better player. I think he was weirdly like voted Player of the Decade for the BAA or something like that, or Player of his generation too.
I'm gonna be honest, my BAA and my NBL history just really isn't up to par.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'll go with you if you said it. I mean, I can see it happening. But yeah, it's just way too hard to find that information, and then
they don't even know their own history.
There's like no video footage. There's no shot. Like the game is massively different. Me, I don't. How can I put this? I don't air attacks. I just recognize the game is so much different without a fucking shot clock.
Sure.
Because literally it can be 4 possessions in a game, if you want it to be.
And it has been. That's why they need the shot clock.
Right. Okay, so we got him. So let's go with this. Who did everybody have at their 9th spot? I had Sam Jones for my 9th.
I had Sam Jones a little bit higher. I had Bill Laimbeer.
You have Bill Laimbeer, okay.
I had Sam Jones like 6th.
You have him 6th, okay. Yeah. I got him 9th. What position do you have him in, Jules?
I have him 5th.
5th. Okay, so who are we arguing for 9th then? Because like I said, I'm arguing Sam Jones.
Yeah.
Who else?
Who do we have right above? Who do you have right above Sam Jones?
Well, I'm saying who's your guys' 9th? Well, who's your guys' 9th?
I have Dandridge.
Okay, so I don't have Dandridge at all. Dandridge, I think, has got to be way higher. This is the reason why. Dandridge, without a doubt, is the best player in the playoffs. I got Dandridge 1, if you want to be honest with you, because Dandridge rose in the playoffs up more than any other sidekick. He's the only player in that entire run to score 20 every single round. Every single round. Hayes didn't do that shit. Gravy didn't do that shit. Nobody else did that shit. He also had 3 of the 4 toughest matchups. His first matchup is Drew. Drew, at his peak, John Drew's 24-9 at his peak, lost guy from the 70s. His next round matchup is George Gervin. That's the hardest matchup. And then his next round matchup is Dr. J. The one that he gets off is against the Seattle Supersonics. So I think nobody can rise like Dandridge on this list. No one can take over the team like Dandridge can. I think Dandridge's got to be higher than 9 because if Batman goes down, you'd love Robin to rise to Batman, not stay at Robin.
Fair enough. I mean, in Game 7, when Elvin Hayes gets fouled out, he does step up too. So I think
Game 7 of 79 is just, second round is just insane. And I know that's not a title year. They go to the finals that year, but 37 overall, 20 in the 4th, and the game winner. And we got a guest joining the panel with us. We'll see what he wants to say too.
Hello.
But But anyways, yeah. So I think he's got to be higher than 9th. Like I said. So who else? Who else? Who'd you have at 9th, Jules?
I said Bill Lambier.
Bill Lambier. So who do we want to go with 9th? And let's try to organize
Well,
this shit.
well, that's what I was asking. Who do we have 8th? Because if we have a collective name somewhere in the same area, we can probably move him down to 9th.
Draymond.
I got Heinsohn at 8th.
I have Draymond.
I have Draymond 10. So we can put Draymond at 9.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
that
that's
fine?
fine.
You think that's fine? Yeah. Gunnar, what do you think? Who do you think's the 9th best sidekick of all time?
I'm leaning Draymond myself, just because of how he is in Golden State. Also, thanks for the invite, fellas. I appreciate it.
Of course. Yeah,
Of course,
I think Draymond Green being the best defender of his generation while providing the primary playmaking, not primary playmaking, but being one of the primary playmakers on that Golden State Warriors team that wins 4 championships, makes 5 straight finals, and all of that makes 6 finals total. I think that DPOY in 17 probably should have been DPOY in 16 too, but I think Draymond at 9 is pretty good.
Best Game 7 I've ever seen live from any player.
He's arguably the best player on the court that game. I think he probably is. With LeBron James, Steph Curry there, Draymond Green's the best player on the court.
Yeah, best Game 7. Okay, so cool. We're going him 9th. I guess that's the end of that. So let's move on to 8th. So then around 8th, the next one I would have is Jones and Heinsohn. Who do you guys got 8th?
I actually didn't have Heinsohn. I actually totally forgot about him. So I had Powell. But you can make the argument he's a franchise player in Memphis, so I can disqualify him from the list. And we can put Heinsohn there if Gunnar and Hoops both agree, if they're around there.
Yeah, no, it's not the franchise but he really excels as a secondary player. Obviously I'd say Pau Gasol's best season ever is probably 2009. That final he has, he's 19 and 12 on 12 shots, 60%. 65 win team, All NBA. Clearly second. Fun fact, Kobe shooting 30% in the fourth quarters in that finals. Pau Gasol shooting 58%. The big difference really in that finals was I hate the fucking argument when they go, Kobe beat the teams LeBron couldn't beat. Well, the reason why is because Dwight Howard was 25 a game in 2009 in the conference finals. He goes down to 15 a game in the finals. That doesn't have shit to do with LeBron or Kobe. It has to do with each one of their team's front lines. So I'm much higher on Pau Gasol. I have him in my top 3 because of what he can do. But that's just me.
I have Pau higher. I don't want to kick Pau off the list.
Yeah. So then who do you guys? So that's who you got.
Okay.
8. Like I said, I got Jones and Heinsohn where I'm at. Who do you got at number 8? Hoops.
I had Draymond. I had Pollard, Dandridge, Draymond, Parker, Sam Jones, Worthy, Pau. Then I had Frazier, but we kicked them off.
Okay, so my recommendation for 8
Parker.
is either Heinsohn or Jones. That's who I think should be at 8. Who do you think should be at 8? And then Gunnar, who do you got? Who would you say would be the 8?
I'm leaning Sam Jones just off of 65 through 60, actually 64 through 66.
I got definitely 65 and 66.
Yeah.
When does he have the 47-point game 7 too? Is that 4? 64 is against the Bucks, not the Bucks. The Royals.
65 or 66. Which one's the top 5 MVP finish? It's either 65
yeah,
or
and
66.
he's like
65 if I remember.
Yeah, he's like
correctly.
25 points per game. He's like 25 points per game, All NBA second.
25.9, I want to say, or something like that.
Yeah,
it was almost 26.
Yeah, almost 26 points per game, All NBA second team. I think 3 years in a row, top 5 in MVP finish, as Tony said. So I think Sam Jones is who you think of too as the second guy. Even in that for most of the run, even if it's not the whole time, even if Sam Jones isn't the player he was in 65 that he was in 62. But yeah, I think Sam Jones.
So I'm voting Jones for 8. Who else wants to go?
This is where I had it's a hot take. I had Andrew Toney because again, more of the like a defensive identity. I know he doesn't win 2 championships, but that the defense that he's providing, I think, is too valuable.
I like Andrew Toney. Like you said, he's a great defender. He's like a very efficient for his time, 20 points per game. Because obviously Dr. J, if it doesn't qualify for this list, Bobby Jones there, Mo Cheeks. That one's tough because I don't know where to rank him in that.
Like I said, I just disqualified him because the no 2 rings.
Yeah, he has 1 ring in 83.
He's got that repetitive winning. So,
we
like
can
I
say
said,
Tony,
I got
Tony Parker.
Gunner got 8. Who do you got for 8th? Hoops.
I had Draymond, then it was Tony Parker, Sam Jones, at 6. So
are we cool? Are we cool with collectively going with Jones at 8?
Yeah.
I think
is there a good argument?
Well, I have Sam Jones much higher, but I can concede to Sam Jones.
Yeah, I feel you guys. I had Dumars as a top 5 guy. I'd kick him off the fucking list. I'm hurt about it. I'm hurt about it. I really am. Really am. Okay, cool. So we're gonna go 8. So kick us off, Jules. Who do you have 7th? Or who's around 7? Who are you nominating for the 7th spot?
I said, we can. I don't have him on my list, but I think a collective group has Tony Parker. I had Tony, but Tony Parker is fine.
Tony Parker for sure. I mean, he does get I think he gets vastly overrated for being part of one of the most iconic teams of the modern era, and winning Finals MVP in 2007, which I don't think he deserved. I think Tim Duncan deserved it because Tim Duncan was 2nd in points, 1st in rebounds, 1st in assists, 1st in steals, 1st in blocks, and anchoring the defense that held the Cavs to about 80 points per game in a very low-scoring series. But Tony Parker is still very efficient. 24 points on 57% shooting, takes full advantage of that matchup. You can argue he's the best player in 2014. He's definitely peaks around a top 10 player in the league in the early 2010s, maybe like 2012-ish. Makes 2 finals, wins 4 titles. One of them he's not he's not Tony Parker yet. He famously is getting subbed out in the 4th quarter by Speedy Claxton, which it's so obvious to the point where he has to address it to the media afterwards. And I know that's something we talk about a lot because we have to talk about Tim Duncan and how good he was and how he carried that team. But Tony Parker from 2005 to the 2014 is, I think, a bona fide all-star caliber player and arguably the best player in 2014.
Let me ask you this. You guys got Parker all-time ahead of Tommy Heinsohn?
No.
You don't? Okay. Okay, cool. So I had Parker over Heinsohn on this list, but I'll concede to that if you guys feel Parker, should be behind Heinsohn. Gunner, where are you at?
I have Heinsohn and Parker close on my all-time list. Myself, they're both outside my top 100. But I can see a case for either of them over each other. They're in the same range for me.
Well, I think we got to go with Parker then because, these guys are definitive and you're on the fence and, you know what I mean? And I'm indifferent about the matter right now. So
no, that's, I just don't know.
I'll concede. Yeah, I'll concede. I think we have Parker here. And then we go Heinsohn. I think Heinsohn's a little bit better of a sidekick.
Okay, so we got Parker. So we got Parker 7th, and then so 6th. Well, hold on. Let's keep it going. Let's see who we're at. Because so right now for 6th for me, because I had this guy 7th, would be Worthy. So 6th for me would be a debate between Worthy and Parker, and I have Parker over. As far as the sidekick goes, because, it just led to more winning. He was the number 2 on more teams than James. They each got the finals MVP. However, James Worthy has some crazy shooting percentages in the playoffs for series. I don't know, Gunnar, were you the one that told me about that?
Yeah, he in up till 1990, he's second, or yeah, he's second in field goal percentage for the playoffs.
Thank you, Magic Johnson. We actually, Gunnar and I discovered this with Adam. We were watching some film. Kurt Rambis, throughout his time in the playoffs in the 80s, and to the point where he plays for the Suns, has the highest field goal percentage in NBA history in the postseason. He is in his last like 3 or 4 years in LA, over 60% field goal percentage. And once he gets to Phoenix, it drops to 44% and like 40% the following year. Thank you, Magic Johnson. But yeah, James Worthy, I think, absolutely. I had him high. We did talk about him. I did talk about him in a video on my page, Hoops History on TikTok. But I talked about him twice in a row, actually. Once when we were ranking our top 80, and we have him in the bottom of the top 80. But the other is when I talked about the Finals MVP that I don't think he deserved, like Parker. But I still concede that he had one of the greatest Finals Game 7s of all time, 36 points, 16 rebounds, 10 assists, big game James. Very efficient, 50% from the field, usually on 20 points per game. Again, thank you, Magic Johnson. But he also could create the fast break on his own because he was really fast. He was strong. He could get in the passing lanes, generate opportunities that way, and he could get to the rim with ease. So, I mean, I think James Worthy, Parker and Worthy, I could go back and forth on. I think James Worthy for his time is maybe a little bit better of a player, but Parker does have a little bit more winning.
Yeah, when I looked into that, James Worthy has 9 series where he shoots over 60%. And if you want to round up the percentage, like 59.5, 59, then it goes up to 12 series where he shoots 60% or higher. I don't think Worthy deserved the Finals MVP. Be honest with you, I don't think the Lakers deserve the championship at all. They got lucky with the Isaiah injury. Wait, this is going to be a little side note because I've always wondered what people think this. So Isaiah gets hurt, right? He goes off in Game 6, they lose. But he's a shell of himself, and once the ankle fucking it doesn't stay loose and hot. And then during the very last shot, the fans on the fucking run onto the court while the game is still going on for the last few seconds, and they don't run the shit back. Question is where do you think Isaiah's legacy is if they three-peat?
Yeah,
because that's a very realistic scenario.
He's much higher on everybody's list, and even if like he doesn't get hurt, he's much higher because everybody equates Isaiah Thomas just during those title runs, and I know Hoops and Gunnar have heard me say about this before. It's like, yes, that's when they're winning, and that's when they're probably at the most like complete of a holistic. But I always evaluate Isaiah in 84, 85, and 86 when he's hyper offensive and they're scoring the highest points per game against those Denver Nuggets in 83. So when I talk about
series in round 1 in 84 is awesome.
Yeah. If Isaiah has that peak, and then is winning 3 titles, he's probably not only much higher on all-time lists, he's probably much higher on a lot of point guards lists.
Yeah, that incredible fourth quarter becomes more than just a footnote in the history of the NBA, right? That's basically what it is. It's a footnote because the Lakers didn't win the Lakers won the series, and the Lakers probably shouldn't have won the series because Bill Laimbeer didn't foul Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar didn't deserve those 2 free throws, and like we said before, everybody, like you just said, Tony, everybody runs out on the court. Isaiah Thomas's legacy changes drastically, especially with that game meaning more, because it led to a title. It is, I think, and I think you, Tony, I think you might have Isaiah ranked over Oscar and West. I don't, but I think that becomes I think that might even become definitive, right? If he three-peats, beats the Lakers twice, beats the Magic Johnson Lakers twice in a row in the finals, beating the Larry Bird Boston Celtics twice. I think that, and then beating Michael Jordan's Bulls, right? 2 times on that.
No, 3 times.
3 times. Yeah, 3 times. That's right, 3 times. during that run, and once in a 7-game series. Yeah, I do think it's a major. It's the same thing with Tim Duncan in Game 6 of the 2013 Finals. Just a miscue here, a moment there, and an entire legacy looks a lot. Just a thing changes by just a fraction, just a margin, right? Then their entire legacy is, I think, increased almost tenfold by that.
What do you think, Gunner?
I'm in 100% agreement. We're talking a whole different story with that Pistons squad as a whole. Isaiah moves up on a lot of people's all-time lists and as a point guard, Sometimes he's overvalued, though. I love his early years more than I love his later years. I mean, that peak in 84 is beautiful. 84, 85.
Hey, real quick, because you said like the Duncan thing, I think of something Duncan even more than that 2013 thing. What if, and then tell me where you think Duncan would be this. What if, because literally this is possible. In 2004, Duncan loses on the Fisher shot. You know what I mean? That sends him 3-2,
You said the clock started late on that too.
Well, what's even funnier is if you read Phil Jackson's book, Kobe broke off the play. Fisher was never supposed to get the ball like that. But Kobe fucked up the play because Kobe wanted the fucking ball.
Mm-hmm.
I swear to God, I think Kobe's the luckiest player of all time. There's just all this shit that just bounced his way. I mean, the luck was just insane. But not saying he's not great, but just shit like that. With that being said, that play, right? Okay, so let's say that, they probably go on to beat the Timberwolves, but, Cassell gets hurt. They obviously showed they could beat the Pistons the next year prior. So I would go with them as well. Then in 06, if Ginobili doesn't foul Dirk on the way to the hole, get the and one and send it to overtime, they lose in that Game 7. That's 2 plays that literally stopped that Tim Duncan could have won 5 straight. 5 straight. So Duncan wins 5 straight like that. He wins from, 02 to 07 plus 99 plus that. Then he's got 7 titles.
Yeah.
Where do we got Duncan now?
Top 3 comfortably, top 2, maybe top 2, arguably the greatest player of all time. If he
the 5 seed is insane.
Yeah, because and like you said, there's just like margins, right? If something goes right here, something goes wrong there. By the way, maybe we could talk about this on another pod. I think Stephen Curry's the luckiest player in NBA history. But just like a few inches here, a few inches there, Duncan 5-peats, and he's top 2. LeBron doesn't. You can't make the LeBron. I don't make the LeBron argument with Duncan's consistency and his impact on winning at that point. If he wins 5 straight, and then let's say he still wins the 2014 title, right? Yeah.
I'm not tripping now if people say they would draft Duncan over LeBron. I understand. I'm not saying if people say Duncan would be my number 1 pick, I get it.
I get it because here's the argument. That Duncan was consistently 2010 was giving you the best defense in the NBA, and was not going to do any stupid bullshit like tease his retirement and turn it into a Hennessy ad, right? Or leave your team. Right. I'm a huge LeBron defender, but if you said that, I would say I would take LeBron James over anybody in NBA history, and I'd make sure I'd put more than Mo Williams next to him, and hopefully he stays and I win more. But I agree. I think Duncan is arguably the best number 1 pick ever based on that in terms of what they invested and what they got.
Jules, where are you at on this?
I was going to say that I think Hoops and I are the ones here that have LeBron as the GOAT, and I find defending LeBron a lot. But if those instances go towards Tim Duncan, I've hold out the number 2. I think he'd be definitively the second greatest player ever, and you would hear a lot more Tim Duncan stuff from me. Because recently, having these debates about Kobe and Tim Duncan, the summer of Kobe is what I'm calling it, because all the Kobe fans this past summer were whining, bitching, and complaining about Kobe, and they slandered everybody in their path, including Tim Duncan. So If he had those, I think it would be a little bit better of a case. I do think it's a winning case now, but if he had 5 straight off of 2 plays, really even 3, because if you want to count the Ray Allen shot while Tim Duncan was on the bench and he wasn't able to rebound that, then he definitively, like you said, had 7 championships. He'd be 7-0, and he'd have 8.
The Ray Allen one.
So
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying, is that you would hear, as a Spurs fan, a lot more Tim Duncan stuff from me, because I'm actually like on the platform, I'm pretty silent when it comes to like San Antonio Spurs stuff, but I would be pushing that a lot more loudly on my end.
Gunner, where would you have Duncan all time if he had that 5 peak?
There's an argument for him being from 1 through like 3, and I think you'd have, for me, I think I'm putting him maybe 1 myself, just because of my philosophy of the game. Like, I love my team players, I love my leadership, and I love defense. That would put Duncan maybe 1. Go ahead.
Here's the thing. Like with Michael Jordan, you can say Michael Jordan is Peak's the best basketball player ever, right? But if Duncan's giving you more titles, he's not retiring in the middle of his career for reasons that we're going to debate forever.
Better defense,
and he's not going to quit again after winning another title, right? And he gets you 7, and he's 7-0. Yeah, well, what's the argument at that point?
Well, it's the normal argument, scoring. So that's some what if shit. But so who are we locking in then at what number were we on, 7 or 6?
Sorry, we're at 6.
Wait, so who do we got? So we got Pollard at 10, we got Draymond at 9, we had Jones at 8.
And then it was
Parker.
7 was Parker or Worthy, 6 or 7.
Yeah. So we're at 7. So we got Parker or Worthy. Who are we going with?
I would say Parker at 6.
Yeah.
Well,
I'd go Parker 6, and yeah.
Well, but we're at 7, right?
Parker 6, Worthy 7.
mean,
Yeah. I'd go Worthy 7. Yeah.
So Parker 6, Worthy 7. Okay, cool. Now we are on to the 5th position. That's where I had Dumars, so I don't got the dog in this fight anymore. Who's everybody got at 5th?
At my 5th spot, I had because I mentioned before, it was kind of difficult for me to either say Walt Frazier, and I said Bill Bradley, even though he's probably more of the tertiary guy. It's either one of those. But if we're saying Walt Frazier, I had Walt Frazier 5th.
I guess I got Heinsohn at 5th now because my Heinsohn's been moved up. So I got Heinsohn at 5th now. That'd be my 5th now.
Well, since we kicked Walt Frazier out, I had him 3rd. Since we kicked him out, I don't have a 5th. I have Pau Gasol at 4th. I had Worthy at 5th. I
think we're leaning towards Heinsohn.
Yes.
Yeah.
Gunner, you got a rebuttal for us? Why not to do Heinsohn?
I ain't got a rebuttal against Heinsohn at all. I don't
you're
see
a Boston fan.
What?
I said, well, you are a Boston fan.
Yeah, of course. Bias.
Yeah, no, Heinsohn in that run from like 60 to 63. I mean, he's got like 3 straight years of over 20. He's got 1 year where he's 20 and 10. He's got a couple top 10 MVP finishes. He's got 3 or 4 straight All NBA second teams. So I mean, I think Heinsohn should be at 5th.
All right,
I agree.
Heinsohn's at 5th.
There we go. We got Heinsohn at 5th. Now we're moving on to the top 4. And these are actually my 4 favorite ones. Like, I knew these were going to be my top 4 to begin with. So I have at 4th. I have McHale. Who's got what at 4th?
I had Bobby Dandridge.
I had Pau Gasol. I have McHale ahead of him. I could go either just the one more title and a couple more finals appearances, even though he's the 6th man for couple of those titles. But I mean, just to talk a little
Hey,
bit.
I have Gasol third, so we got exactly switched. I got Gasol third, McHale fourth.
And that's fine. I can put McHale. We could put McHale. I mean, they're very similar to me. Next to a transcendently great player. One of the most talented offensive post players of their generation. While just a repertoire of post moves and a touch around the rim that makes them a reliable, as we said, 20-10 or 19-11 or 19-12 in the playoffs. Pau Gasol's 2009, 2010 championship runs throughout this entire playoffs. He's a reliable 19-11, 3 assists, 2 blocks, right? On good efficiency, 50% from the field. His playmaking is, I think, super underrated. I think probably if we were to compare across eras, I would say Pau Gasol might be the better player.
Yeah, I was going to tell you the rebounding and the passing is what separates it with me for Gasol over McHale. Like I think Kev is the better scorer, but I just think Pau just overall is the better overall player. Like after scoring, I'll take everything else Pau Gasol.
Yeah, and and Pau Gasol doesn't have the luxury of a cornbread Maxwell stepping up for him in a game 7 in the 84 finals. That's 24-8-8, right? So I would say, I would say Kevin McHale at 4 is fine.
What about you, Jules? Who do you think is better, Gasol or McHale? What would you say?
I think it's clearly McHale. I'd take the defense and the scoring. The defense moves me. Getting all defensive teams, I don't think Pau has them. And the competition in the East throughout year in and year out. Yes, he's six man of the year. That Pau Gasol doesn't have that, so he's the best at being the sixth man. And McHale with the competition in the finals. Yes, Dwight Howard with Pau is the best center, but the collective group, I'm taking Ralph Sampson and Hakeem Olajuwon over Dwight Howard. Kevin McHale is putting belt to ass to them, completely decimating Ralph Sampson in 86, and Hakeem is basically having to bail out off of Robert Parrish off weak side and try to help because Ralph Sampson can't do anything about it. Rashad Lewis can't do that nearly as much because McHale on my list is number 1, and I value that really high. But I can concede because I can just take that L and we can put McHale at 4.
Here's my.
Oh no! I can concede too. Hold on, Gunner. I think I know where you're going to go.
I'm with Jules at putting Gasol at
I knew it.
So just to point about the all defensive teams, because Pau Gasol is a very underrated rim protector. Like I said, 2 blocks per game in the playoffs. Talked about how he played defense on Robert Parrish, how he emasculates Kevin Garnett, even though it's an older Kevin Garnett, still a good Kevin Garnett across the 7-game series, except for one game where Garnett steps up. I think it's game 4 or 5. Can't remember which one. But here's the thing about the all-defensive teams. Okay, so Pau's competing with LeBron James, Tim Duncan, Kevin Garnett, Tayshaun Prince, et cetera, and I think Kevin McHale might be competing with like Rodney McRae for those spots. So the all defensive teams, I think they're both very good rim protectors. I think they're both very good defenders. You can say Kevin McHale did play better comp at the position. I have no argument for that, but McHale does. I think McHale's 86 is a better finals performance than Pau Gasol in 9 or 10. Definitely 8. Definitely an 8 because Pau sucks in 08. So
I'll tell you what, I feel like it's my turn to concede. So I will go Gasol 4th and 3rd since Jules has been very accommodating. No. And like I said, I think it's a very close argument. So much so that I really don't even care. Like it is so close to me. I understand if you want to go McHale, and I understand if you want to go Gasol. I personally would go Gasol, but you know what I mean? So I mean we can go Gasol 4th and McHale 3rd. I'm with it.
I love both of them. I'm a Pau truther. And even though I wasn't on the episode, I think Nate brought it up really well. I think McHale gets a little bit overrated, but in doing these film studies for myself with Kevin McHale, it's not even just the beauty of footwork. It's how he's being able to do it, what he's being able to produce at the competition level of what he's going against. And I think it's close. I do think Pau is probably a little bit of a better overall player. I think you said that beautifully, Tony. But I think of what he's Kevin McHale's lows are aren't necessarily as low, because you can argue the minutes played for sure, but even in the minutes played, if he gets, Cornbread Maxwell is giving you 24, 8, and 8, like you said, Hoops. So I don't know. I would personally.
I'm conceding the argument. Like I said, I'm going to go fourth. Yeah, Gasol fourth. Mikhail third. Like I said, if I'm indifferent on something and one of you guys are like passionate about it, I will go with your passion and my indifference.
I'm not.
They're so similar.
No. Gunnar is passionate about it. It means nothing to him.
So just because I'm a Celtics fan doesn't mean
let's do that. Let's do
they're very interchangeable. So I do lean Cal at fourth.
Let's do Gasol fourth.
Yeah, Mikhail third. Okay, so now we're getting down to the top two, and this is the one I've been really, really wanting for. Like I said, we got I don't know if you were here earlier, Gunnar, for my argument, but to me it comes down to Pippen and Dandridge. Pippen over the long-term success, and Dandridge over the peak. It's more so what do you prefer? I prefer the Dandridge thing. I know a lot of people prefer the Pippen thing. To be honest with you, like I said, I want to hear what you guys say. Convince me one way or another.
Well, that's why I was trying to concede the Mikhail point, because I already know the Dandridge was going to come up. I do have Scotty number 2, so I'm perfectly fine with saying Dandridge. Because leading points in a decade in the finals, Bobby Dandridge. He has the finals MVP for what is it, Tony? 5 minutes before they change it?
5 or 10, yeah, something like that.
Yeah, the peak is there. Even though people view him as a tertiary player in that first finals and at 71 with the Bucks, I definitively think that he's just better than Oscar Robinson, because I've been trying to be consistent with my logic of the scoring, the defense, and the rebounding. Bobby Dandridge is doing that a little bit better than Oscar. So in my I have no problems with putting Bobby Dandridge over Scottie Pippen. I know you, Jordan, there are going to say Scottie. I would disagree.
I just disagree. I mean, Scottie Pippen, in terms of, if you want to talk about stepping up and all that, I can understand that. Scottie Pippen is the perfect complement to Michael Jordan, who many say is the greatest player of all time. I mean, he throughout his first, he's a reliable throughout that first three-peat, 20 points, 6 assists, 7 rebounds, right, a game on pretty decent efficiency. Everybody talks about the 93 finals, how Michael Jordan has 41 points per game. It's the best finals performance, arguably, of all time. I think it is the best finals performance of all time. But Pippen in that series is 21 points, 9 rebounds, 7 assists. He's the primary facilitator for that triangle offense. That really raises the ceiling for Michael Jordan. I mean, Michael Jordan is the ceiling raiser, but that helps raise the ceiling for that offense of what they can achieve. How 2 3-peats. We saw how he could do as the best player on his team, even though they went 7 games. I know he had some personal issues. He does have some personal issues. That is a problem of his. It's a legitimate criticism of his. But when he says stuff like, I was the original LeBron, and people laugh at it because obviously he's nowhere near as good as LeBron, he was actually correct. He was a hyper athletic 6'8", 220, could get to the rim on anybody, could facilitate at a high level, and was probably the best rebounder at his position in the league for at least the first 3 years. And I think this is an important point. It's not my point, but I'm going to steal it from somebody. The best person that was equipped to guard Michael Jordan during the 90s was Scottie Pippen. He played for his team. He was arguably the best wing defender of his era. Couple of second depoy finishes, couple of first-team All-NBAs, one of them when he's playing with Jordan in 96, part of a 72-10 team. I just think it's so clearly Scottie Pippen is the greatest sidekick of all time.
No. I'm with that too. Gunnar, give us your point.
To me, that Scottie, he's the best complement to Jordan. And for all those championships, except for 97 and 98, he's still really providing for that team as a great second option. Where 97 and 98, I am critical of Scottie because he falls off, but that's because of injuries, really. That's when the injuries start to take place of him. But I think it's still clear Scottie's the best Robin.
See, and so I'm going to say this, and this is what I'm saying. Like I said, I understand why, and like I said, it's cool. But Bobby Dandridge is as a secondary player has Scottie Pippen ain't never. I don't think Scottie Pippen's ever had a top 5 MVP finish. All NBA second team, all defensive first, all star. The Bullets, Hoops. I actually saw something you said. You said the Bullets should have been the dynasty of the 70s, right?
They should have been. Yeah.
Yep.
Very first season Bobby Dandridge gets there is when they win. They couldn't do shit for the first 7 seasons or 8 seasons until he got there. They make back-to-back finals when he gets there. He's clearly taken over. So like I said, it's really a question about, the consistency of the Pippen or the longevity. Because, like, for example, Dandridge, you know what I mean? Dandridge's peaking, like he has multiple series where he averages over double-digit rebounds. You know what I mean? He's like, 20 and 10 in some series. Pippen just never gets that high. I think Pippen's got 1 series over 25. So does Dandridge. I'm pretty sure Dandridge's got more 20-point series. And it's just that consistent. So it's really more so, like I said, I understand. And I will go with whichever one you 3 want to vote. And it sounds like you guys are more on Pippen, and I'm cool with conceding. But like I said, it's just the peak of Dandridge. Like, I know if my guys are going down, Dandridge can step up and be that number 1 and lead me to a title, as to where Pippen can't. I've just never seen Pippen.
I do know that Pippen did have at least 1 top 5 finish. I think maybe a top 3, but that was without Jordan.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm talking as a sidekick. This dude is top 5 in MVP vote.
Mm-hmm.
That is how good that motherfucker is. That's why, like, when Nate was on and like he said, we got the 157. I said, because you guys don't value him as the best player on the title team. If you value him as the best player on the title team, there's no argument that he's not top 100. Now, obviously, his career don't compare to Scotty's and shit like that. So, like I said, I'll concede. I got no problem with Dandridge being number 2. I just want everybody to truly recognize, because that's why I created the podcast, for 2 reasons. 1, people kind of knew the name Bob Pettit, but they didn't really know who the fuck Bob Pettit was. And the second one is most people don't even know who the fuck Bobby Dandridge is. I've just never seen a true sidekick rise as the best player. You know what I mean? I just think that's something very, very special.
All-time points in the finals in the 70s too. Yeah.
So like I said, we'll put Dandridge at second, you know what I mean, over the consistent success of Pippen is number 2. I get that. Like I said, you guys are passionate on it, passionate the other way, but Jules is indifferent on the matter. So that's 2-1-1.
I'm with Bobby Dandridge. I'm just saying. I'm with you.
So that's what I'm saying. No, we can do Pippen. We can do Pippen number 1. Like I said, I think the success Pippen had and all that. There we go. So so we got some more new content when we're doing it on TikTok. We can rank our top 10 sidekicks. Obviously, Hoops, you're the technical genius. So when you do it, make sure you show all the love that really Bobby Dandridge needs, so we can get that out here and people can start being.
Maybe I'll just make it a Bobby Dandridge video. Just Bobby Dandridge. Let's just talk about Bobby Dandridge.
Hey, if you want to, we can go back to the old clips, because I have an interview with him, like where he says, I definitely should have been Finals MVP. Maybe take some clips out of that shit as well.
Okay.
But there we go. So those are our top 10 sidekicks. Any honorable mentions you guys want to do? Maybe only a one-time sidekick, true sidekick. Like I said, I think Joe Dumars obviously needs honorable mention. I would have him, I'd have him top 5 on my list, but.
I would say Clyde Drexler for 95. He's really I know how amazing Hakeem is, but Clyde Drexler is like a solid 21, 10, and 5 throughout that playoff run. Really steps up. Helps carry
the team in win shares in the playoffs.
Leads the team in win shares in the playoffs. That's why you shouldn't follow advanced stats blindly. Because that would tell you that Clyde Drexler is the best player on the team, and that would be fucking stupid, wouldn't it? But Clyde Drexler is definitely up there. I do like Anthony Davis's 2020 run, but he is unfortunately unreliable. I would say, maybe I guess Manu Ginobili for 2005. And
I'm a big fan of Drew Holiday in 21.
Oh, so I thought about Drew Holiday for 21 and 24, but by 24, he's really like the 4th best player on the team. But Drew Holiday is actually someone that I did think of, because he's a legitimate all-star player, one of the best perimeter defenders of his time. So yeah, definitely Drew Holiday.
Jules, you got anybody?
Well, now I'll put my Spurs bias up there, talking about my favorite player. Kawhi Leonard, I think in 2014 has a way better legitimate argument than Tony Parker as being the secondary guy, because in the second round, Kawhi Leonard is outscoring Tony Parker in some series. He's being the primary POA against the Jazz, correct? And then for not one but two whole finals runs, Greg Popovich is tasking a rookie and sophomore Kawhi Leonard to go against the best player in the world in his prime. And even though people will blindly say, well, LeBron is still putting up LeBron numbers, no. When he's being as a POA defender, LeBron James is shooting sub 40% when Kawhi Leonard is being tasked on him, and you're visibly seeing LeBron James, pass the ball and being completely uncomfortable throughout a whole series. Mind you, the Spurs then beat that Heat team by a record margin. So I would say Kawhi Leonard is an honorable mention.
Yeah. What about you, Gunnar?
For me, it's either Cowens or JoJo White. What they did in the 70s, I understand with Cowens having the MVP, but it was John Havlicek's team. But both of them are such a great compliment to Hondo. And they're both great for those championship teams in the 70s.
Hey, I also want to shout out Kyle Lowry. I think he was born to play off a superstar. Like in Toronto, we saw how well he played. And he's a clutch shot maker, and you can run the play for him at the end. It's not we got to drive and kick. He'll create his own shit. So I think Kyle Lowry, if he could have, if they could have put him in Mo Williams' spot with LeBron, who knows what could have happened or some shit like that.
One more. If the Thunder win another one, J-Dubs is flying up my list because I am a huge J-Dubs fan. Excellent defender, both on the wing as a rim protector and a great secondary scoring option, and also just a very cool guy. So J-Dubs is definitely somebody I'm going to keep an eye out if we ever make this list again.
There we go. Hey, so that's it. We're done for the night. We'll check y'all next week. Coming up with more, celebrating the 80th season. Bless the ones who broke you because they're the ones who built you. For Tony, for Hoops, for Gunner, for Jules, we're out. We'll see y'all next week.
Oh, Canada.
Put on a suit, drink water, don't drink and drive. Hey, man, call your mother.
It means nothing. It means nothing.
No, they lying to you. It's about the money.
Now you're more fluent.